Christ is risen. Christos anesti. Christos voskresce. El Mesich kom. Ha Mashiach kom. Christus resurrexit. Cristo ha resucitado. Christos anviat. Christi uniao. Aristotosu fukatsu. Hidu fuhola. Christo boahashane. 3 Kings. 1 Kings in Hebrew. Chapter 12, verse 24f through chapter 13, verse 34. And Jeroboam heard in Egypt that Solomon was dead. He spoke in the ears of Susa king of Egypt, saying, Let me go, and I will depart into my land. And Susa king said to him, Ask any request, and I will grant it thee. And Susa king gave to Jeroboam Ano, the eldest sister of Thechamina, his wife, to be his wife. She was great among the daughters of the king, and she bore to Jeroboam Abiah his son. And Jeroboam said to Susa king, Let me indeed go, and I will depart. And Jeroboam departed out of Egypt, and came into the land of Sarirah, that was in Mount Ephraim, and thither the whole tribe of Ephraim assembles, and Jeroboam built a fortress there. And his young child was sick with a very severe sickness, and Jeroboam went to inquire concerning the child. And he said to Ano his wife, Arise, go, inquire of God concerning the child, whether he shall recover from his sickness. Now there was a man in Siloam, his name was Achiah, and he was 60 years old, and the word of the Lord was with him. And Jeroboam said to his wife, Arise, and take in thine hand loaves for the man of God, and cakes for his children, and grapes, and a pot of honey. And the woman arose, and took in her hand bread, and 2 cakes, and grapes, and a pot of honey for Achiah. And the man was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see. And she arose up from Sarirah, and went. And it came to pass, when she had come into the city to Achiah the Silonite, that Achiah said to his servant, Go out now to meet Ano, the wife of Jeroboam, and thou shalt say to her, Come in, and stand not still. For thus saith the Lord, I send grievous tidings to thee. And Ano went in to the man of God, and Achiah said to her, Why hast thou brought me bread, and grapes, and cakes, and a pot of honey? Thus saith the Lord, Behold, thou shalt depart from me. And it shall come to pass, when thou hast entered into the city, even into Sarirah, that thy maidens shall come out to meet thee, and shall say to thee, The child is dead. For thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will destroy every male of Jeroboam, and there shall be the dead of Jeroboam in the city. Them the dogs shall eat, and him that has died in the field shall the birds of the air eat. And he shall lament for the child, saying, Woe is me, Lord, for there has been found in him some good thing touching the Lord. And the woman departed, and she heard this. And it came to pass, as she entered into Sarirah, that the child died, and there came forth a wailing to meet her. And Jeroboam went to Shechemah in Mount Ephraim, and assembled there the tribes of Israel. And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, went up thither. And the word of the Lord came to Samaeus, son of Enlami, saying, Take to thyself a new garment, which has not gone into the water, and rend it into 12 pieces. And thou shalt give some to Jeroboam, and shall say to him, Thus saith the Lord, Take to thyself 10 pieces to cover thee. And Jeroboam took them. And Samaeus said, Thus saith the Lord concerning the 10 tribes of Israel. And the people said to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, Thy father made his yoke heavy upon us, and made the meat of his table heavy. And now thou shalt lighten them upon us, and we will serve thee. And Rehoboam said to the people, Wait 3 days, and I will return you an answer. And Rehoboam said, Bring in to me the elders, and I will take counsel with them, what I shall answer to the people on the 3rd day. So Rehoboam spoke in their ears, as the people sent him to say. And the elders of the people said, Thus the people have spoken to thee. And Rehoboam rejected their counsel, and it pleased him not. And he sent and brought in those who had been brought up with him. And he said to them, Thus and thus has the people sent to me to say. And they that had been brought up with him said, Thus shalt thou speak to the people, saying, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. My father scourged you with whips, but I will rule you with scorpions. And this pleased Rehoboam. And he answered the people as the young men, they that were brought up with him, counseled him. And all the people spoke as one man, every one to his neighbor. And they cried out all together, saying, We have no part in David, nor inheritance in the son of Jesse. To thy tents, O Israel, every one. For this man is not for a prince or a ruler over us. And all the people was dispersed from Shechemah, and they departed, every one to his tent. And Rehoboam strengthened himself and departed. and mounted his chariot, and entered into Jerusalem. And there followed him the whole tribe of Judah, and the whole tribe of Benjamin. And it came to pass at the beginning of the year that Rehoboam gathered all the men of Judah and Benjamin, and went up to fight with Jeroboam at Shechem. And the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah the man of God, saying, Speak to Rehoboam king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Ye shall now go up, neither shall ye fight with your brethren the sons of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. And they hearkened to the word of the Lord, and forbore to go up, according to the word of the Lord. And Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt in it, and went forth thence, and built Phanuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Behold, now the kingdom will return to the house of David. If this people shall go up to offer sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then the heart of the people will return to the Lord, and to their master, to Rehoboam king of Judah, and they will slay me. And the king took counsel, and went, and made 2 golden heifers, and said to the people, Let it suffice you to have gone hitherto to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, who brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he put one in Bethel, and he put the other in Dan. And this thing became a sin. And the people went before one as far as Dan, and left the house of the Lord. And he made houses on the high places, and made priests of any part of the people, who were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam appointed a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, according to the feast in the land of Judah, and went up to the altar which he made in Bethel, to sacrifice to the heifers which he made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. And he went up to the altar which he had made, on the 15th day in the 8th month, at the feast which he devised out of his own heart. And he made a feast to the children of Israel, and went up to the altar to sacrifice. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord to Bethel, and Jeroboam stood at the altar to sacrifice. And he cried against the altar by the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Lord, Behold, a son is to be born to the house of David, Josias by name, and he shall offer upon thee the priests of the high places, even of them that sacrifice upon thee, and he shall burn men's bones upon thee. And in that day one shall give a sign, saying, This is the word which the Lord hath spoken, saying, Behold, the altar is rent, and the fatness upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the words of the man of God, who called on the altar that was in Bethel, that the king stretched forth his hand from the altar, saying, Take hold of him. And behold, his hand, which he stretched forth against him, withered, and he could not draw it back to himself. And the altar was rent, and the fatness was poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of God gave by the word of the Lord. And King Jeroboam said to the man of God, Entreat the Lord thy God, and let my hand be restored to me. And the man of God entreated the Lord, and he restored the king's hand to him, and it became as before. And the king said to the man of God, Enter with me into the house, and dine, and I will give thee a gift. And the man of God said to the king, If thou shouldest give me the half of thine house, I would not go in with thee, neither will I eat bread, neither will I drink water in this place. For thus the Lord charged me by his word, saying, Eat no bread, and drink no water, and return not by the way which thou camest. So he departed by another way, and returned not by the way by which he came to Bethel. And there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of God did on that day in Bethel, and the words which he spoke to the king, and they turned the face of the father. And their father spoke to them, saying, Which way went he? And his son showed him the way by which the man of God, who came out of Judah, went up. And he said to his sons, Saddle me the ass. And they saddled him the ass, and he mounted it, and went after the man of God, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said to him, Art thou the man of God that came out of Judah? And he said to him, I am. And he said to him, Come with me and eat bread. And he said, I shall not by any means be able to return with thee, neither will I eat bread, neither will I drink water in this place. For thus the Lord commanded me by word, saying, Eat not bread there, and drink not water, and return not thither by the way by which thou camest. And he said to him, I also am a prophet as thou art. And an angel spoke to me by the word of the Lord, saying, Bring him back to thee into thy house, and let him eat bread and drink water. But he lied to him. And he brought him back, and he ate bread and drank water in his house. And it came to pass, while they were sitting at the table, that the word of the Lord came to the prophet that brought him back. And he spoke to the man of God that came out of Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast resisted the word of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy God commanded thee, but hast returned, and eaten bread, and drunk water in the place of which he spoke to thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat bread, and shalt not drink water, therefore thy body shall in no wise enter into the sepulchre of thy fathers. And it came to pass, after he had eaten bread and drunk water, that he saddled the ass for him, and he turned and departed. And a lion found him in the way, and slew him, and his body was cast out in the way, and the ass was standing by it, and the lion also was standing by the body. And behold, men were passing by, and saw the carcass cast in the way, and the lion was standing near the carcass. And they went in, and spoke of it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And the prophet that turned him back out of the way heard, and said, This is the man of God, who rebelled against the word of the Lord. And he spoke to his sons, saying, Saddle me the ass. And they saddled it. And he went and found the body cast in the way, and the ass and the lion were standing by the body, and the lion had not devoured the body of the man of God, and had not torn the ass. And the prophet took up the body of the man of God, and laid it on his ass. And the prophet brought him back to his city, to bury him in his own tomb. And they bewailed him, saying, Alas, brother! And it came to pass, after he had lamented him, they spoke to his sons, saying, Whenever I die, bury me in this tomb, wherein the man of God is buried. Lay me by his bones, that my bones may be preserved with his bones. For the Lord will surely come to pass, which he spoke by the word of the Lord, against the altar in Bethel, and against the high house in Samaria. And after this Jeroboam turned not from his sin, but he turned and made of part of the people priests of the high places. Whoever would, he consecrated to him, and he became a priest for the high places. And this thing became sin to the house of Jeroboam, even to its destruction, and its removal from the face of the earth. Psalm 103, 104 in Hebrew, verses 1 through 18. A Psalm of David. Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my God, thou art very great. Thou hast clothed thyself with praise and honor, who dost robe thyself with light as with a garment, spreading out the heaven as a curtain. Who covers his chambers with waters, who makes the clouds his chariot, who walks on the wings of the wind, who makes his angels spirits, and his ministers a flaming fire, who establishes the earth on her sure foundation, it shall not be moved forever. The deep, as it were a garment, in his covering, the water shall stand on the hills. At thy rebuke they shall flee, at the voice of thy thunder they shall be alarmed. They go up to the mountains, and down to the plains, to the place which thou hast founded for them. Thou hast set a bound which they shall not pass, neither shall they turn again to cover the earth. He sends forth his fountains among the valleys, the waters shall run between the mountains. They shall give drink to all the wild beasts of the field. The wild asses shall take of them to quench their thirst. By them shall the birds of the sky lodge. They shall utter a voice out of the midst of the rocks. He waters the mountains from his chambers. The earth shall be satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He makes grass to grow for the cattle, and green herb for the service of men, to bring bread out of the earth, and wine makes glad the heart of man, to make his face cheerful with oil, and bread strengthens man's heart. The trees of the plain shall be full of sap, even the cedars of Libanus which he has planted. There the sparrows will build their nests, and the house of the heron takes the lead among them. The high mountains are a refuge for the stags, and the rock for the rabbits. Proverbs chapter 22, verses 7 through 9. The rich will rule over the poor, and servants will lend to their own masters. He that sows wickedness shall reap troubles, and shall fully receive the punishment of his deeds. God loves a cheerful and liberal man, but a man shall fully prove the folly of his works. He that has pity on the poor shall himself be maintained, for he has given of his own bread to the poor. He that gives liberally secures victory and honor, but he takes away the life of them that possess them. The Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 22, verses 1 through 23. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went his way, and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. And they were glad and covenanted to give him money. And he promised, and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. And ye shall say unto the goodman of the house, The master saith unto thee, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished. There make ready. And they went, and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, With desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof, until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of God. And he took the cup, and gave thanks, and said, Take this, and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine, until the kingdom of God shall come. And he took bread, and gave thanks, and brake it, and gave unto them, saying, This is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after the supper, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly, the Son of Man goeth, as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing.